Good evening, everybody, and a big welcome to another session of a collaborative JV, as we call it, between Speaking Tiger and Kahaani Koncerti. Now, today we will be discussing a book which is called Fern Road, right? And those of you all who are here from Kolkata or are Calcuttans or Kolkatans, whatever you call yourselves, maybe working outside anywhere in the world, could be just Gurgaon, Bangalore, California. I'm sure you all are all very familiar with Fern Road. Now, before I invite our guest, Angshu Dasgupta, who has written this book, Fern Road, let me tell you something about Speaking Tiger, though I know all of you all are quite familiar with the Speaking Tiger story. Now, Speaking Tiger has been around for about 7 years. And the reason I'm taking a little more time to tell you this because they are always, upgrading themselves. And there's some more elements that have come in other than just being publishers. So while they have been in the business for the last 7 years now, and they in fact actually state that their list of books comprises of fiction, non-fiction, poetry, drama from South Asia and rest of the world. Important thing is that they put a strong emphasis on new voices and diversity. So that's really the philosophy of Speaking Tiger. Now, the list of authors is almost everybody who is into Indo-Anglian writing, and English writing. So it's on one hand, Upamanyu Chatterjee, to Mark Tully, to Ruskin Bond, Madhavi Menon. I'm not going through the whole list because it's a long list and you all know everybody. You all know these authors. The authors, incidentally, all the authors who have been published by Speaking Tiger, many of them have gone on to win or they have been in the short list of major literary prizes in South Asia, including, of course, our own Sahitya Academy Award, the Crossword Book Award, the Hindu Literature Prize, and the DSC Prize, the JCB Prize, and the Tata Literature Live Award. So they are much decorated authors that we have. Now, one of the key focus of Speaking Tiger has been to, what they call is Indian and international literature in English translation. And they have a set of award-winning translations and fiction and non-fiction, which covers languages such as Tamil and Marathi, Hindi, Telugu, Bengali, and that is Shukumar Rai, and a language about which I do not know much, called Bahasa. Well, they also have done work on Turkish. They have translated Turkish books and Odia books. And they have a set of acclaimed translators whose books get published, and they include Jerry Pinto, Shanta Gokhale, Aruna Bosena, Ravi Shankar, Kalyani Raman. All the major translators in this country are there with Speaking Tiger. They also have an imprint for children's books called Talking Cub. And sometime last month, we had a chat show with Tilottama Shom from the Talking Cub series, who has translated Upendra Kishore Rai Chaudhury's Ramayan and Gopika and Bhagabayan. And again, those who are the writers for children's books in India, Paro Anand, Ruskin Bond, Bulbul Sharma, Ranjit Lal, the late Subhadra Sengupta, Shabnam Minwala, they are all a part of the Talking Cub, Speaking Tiger and Talking Cub. So that's what it is. And incidentally, in late 2019, Speaking Tiger have launched what they call is the classic line, with translation of Abhangs of Janabai, Sauryabai, and other Marathi women poet saints. So that's really moving up a step ahead. And this is what Speaking Tiger is all about. And in this milieu of Speaking Tiger, we have a book called Fern Road by Angshu Dasgupta. So I think it's time to invite our guest on the show. And this is Angshu Dasgupta. Hello, Angshu. You can hear me.
Hello.
I can.
Good
Hello.
evening. Good evening, Shujit. Good evening, everybody else. Thank you for having me on, Shujit.
Absolute pleasure, Angshu. In fact, more reasons than one. One is this because when this list of books were shared with me by Speaking Tiger and Talking Cub, I put my hand up and said that there are some books which I'd like to take it on myself. And they said, "Yeah, you take your choice." And sorry, and one of the books I immediately put my finger on was Fern Road. Now, the obvious reason for taking on Fern Road, like you, Kolkata, and like as you were mentioning to me yesterday, that life has been in your childhood from Keatala to Menoka Cinema. That radius of 2 kilometers maybe, and that's Kolkata. To top it all, you have studied in the iconic Pato Bhavan, and then of course you did a spell in Dehradun, but then you came back to study at well, the operative word in Kolkata is KGP. I mean, I
Yes.
somehow, yeah, nobody calls it IIT
Yeah,
Kharagpur.
nobody.
Nobody. So it's KGP. So in case those of you all you want to know, he's a computer scientist. I don't know what they call computer designer, software designer. He's a computer guy basically. And here is a computer guy who writes a book on Fern Road, which is one of the major lanes. It's actually a matrix of lanes for those who are not from Kolkata and do not know Fern Road. And it starts from a very interesting landmark in Kolkata, which has been a landmark for the last 50 years or even more since I can care to remember, called Gold Park. Now, Angshu, I must raise my hand and tell you that I have been born in a time when we could actually walk up to the Vivekananda statue in Gold Park in the middle and sit under it. So that must have been years ago before they put up that the barricade around it. Uh,
Yeah, I've done
so
that with my grandfather. And then we used to take the L9 from Gol Park and go to Dunlop.
which was a three-tier bus and very romantically called Triptolika. And on the top
Yes.
of Triptolika was really the whole Calcutta for you. Now,
Yeah.
I must share another small story with my audience over here, which I can't resist. Was way back in 1990, my wife picked up an apartment, in what is now called Golf Gardens. It's very close to Golf Green, on the southern fringe of the golf club, RCGC, and Lord's Bakery, Jodhpur Park, Lake Gardens. And I'm excited. We went and shared the news with the elders in the family. There was some family get together, and we said, "Oh, she has gotten a property. We have bought a small flat." And then they said, "Oh, very nice. Oh, wonderful, etc., etc., etc." And then they said, "Oh, where is this exactly?" So we said, Anvasha Road, as you go towards Golf Green, there is a golf garden, and all that was explained. And suddenly they lost interest. So we said, Kyolo. And then they said, "Oh, that's outside Kolkata." I said, "Outside Kolkata?" They said, "Yeah, as far as we are concerned, anything between 2.5 kilometers radius from Gold Park, so that would probably Dhakuria, Chalega, Jodhpur Park, yes. But anything outside of that, it's not. So you are a part of that 2.5 kilometer radius
Yes.
of Fern Road. Okay, so you have passed the test of being in Kolkata. But now, Angshu, my first question to you, we want to hear from you. I was just giving the background. Is that why did you take on Fern Road? I'll come to Orco later, but first, why Fern Road?
Uh, well, it's that place has very, mm, I would say, very visual memories for me because as a young child, like my protagonist Orko, I also was, uh, um, you know, user of public transport at a very young age. So my father said that no, you don't take the school bus. You learn how to commute using public buses. So I used to walk down from Pathavon, cross the tram line into Fern Road and down to Gold Park, and then take a bus from there. So, uh, like I've done strange things, like things that I have tried to move to Fern. I mean, tried to somehow capture in Fern Road also. Like I followed a cat into a strange lane and I've gotten lost. Things like that, right? So those memories are there, and because my protagonist, the person that I wanted to write about, is of the age that I was when I used to walk down from Fern Road myself. So that was a sort of natural locale for the novel.
All right.
And if you want to also come to why I chose to write about a boy such as Orko, uh, that is because you see, uh, the premise is that little boys are equally vulnerable as little girls. But we tend to forget that. We tend to say that, okay, you're a boy, you're basically a little man. So, you are able to take on the world. You should be stoic, you should be brave, you should be able to, ladke lenge Pakistan used to be what my mother used to tell me. Right? And that leads to damage that I've seen among people that are close to me. And I wanted to sort of write about a boy who is not uh, very comfortable with the idea of that, stoic, grown up, masculine, strong uh, idea of himself yet. And that is why I chose this protagonist. And because the protagonist had to be that particular age, that's why Fern Road. So that's the story in
All
short.
right. Okay, fine. So the Fern Road could have, by the same logic, been Kiatala. It could have been, Monor Pukul Road, whatever. But that's the local. Yeah, I get that. But now, taking it, and you have also explained the why Orco. You have obviously known these people, and the first thing that when I was reading the book, and this is what I would like to tell uh, my viewers who are actually who will, I hope, read this book, Fern Road. It will take you back in time. It will take you back to your own city, both time and city both. There is one thing that is going to, what shall I say, is going to trouble you. That's the word. The word is trouble you, and that is you will always try to think, is this? Is he talking about this bus stop being Kolavila? Maybe. And then where did he get off? Did he get off in front of? He says he got off in front of Jadavpur University. But is this the Bengal lamp stopping he's talking about? Because he walks into a housing colony, that Orko's first year. So this will keep on teasing you. And but I tell you something, it's great fun. It's great fun being teased because you're always guessing. See what could it be? And the biggest guess, Angshu, I must tell you that I have almost sweat it out. When you talked about the school, and you're still on Fern Road, so like you keep dabbling. Is he talking about Jagabandhu? Doesn't look like. Then it must be Kalidhon or it must be Tithopati. Oh my God! But that's in Rishupriya Park. Asha, he has linked it up, and that's. But doing that exercise, believe me, is great fun. Is absolutely great fun. So that's number one. But another thing which I want to ask you about this, and tell our viewers over here, there is a remarkable. I am telling you this. There's a remarkable thing that you have done, which is you have really got into the skin of the middle class Bengali, the middle class Bengali, where the father is an academic, and there is a very Orko has lost his mother, so there is the next door Mashi who takes care of Orko's meals and stuff like that. Everybody is sort of sympathetic. He has got his own aunt, and this is something is I think one of the other than the Fern Road the game playing in our mind. I think this is something, Angshu, you have really gone much deep into this middle class psyche or whatever you call it. And I want to ask you that, no, but I mean, how did you manage that?
Well, that was actually the easiest part because that's, I can pick up two members of my family and say, okay, this is Mashi and this is Urmi's mother, and this is Nandon, who is actually Orko's father, and I can do that. So these are all, uh, it's sort of you make a jigsaw puzzle. You take pieces from people and you build up a picture, and that sometimes fits, sometimes doesn't. It may have some pieces missing because that's a liberty that an author can take. You don't, for example, I don't describe how these people look. I don't say that he's tall or he has, or she's fat or things like that. I don't go into that at all. But what that lets me do is that, for example, you can transpose someone onto these people because they have enough of the attributes of the milieu that I'm trying to describe, so that
Right.
anyone can actually relate to them. So that's why it was sort of easy because I know these people.
Yeah, and that for many of us, and I've just got a comment on the chat box from Urmimala Chaudhuri, who incidentally has been, well, I wouldn't say born, but born near about, but brought up in that government, the quarters next to Kola Villa. Uh,
Okay.
what I'm talking about. So she has been, in fact, she's still her mother still stays there. So she's still very much part of that gov. So she, in fact, has used one word which I think appropriately sums up everything for our generation in reading your book, nostalgia. Absolute nostalgia. It was. So, and particularly when you're playing those guessing games, you are extending that nostalgia to more and more,
Yeah.
which is why I think everybody who has been from Calcutta, I personally think they must try out reading. And I've given a link over here on the chat box. Uh, okay, Urbimala says that she was actually born. She was actually born when they were in Fern Road.
Okay.
So, so therefore, that Fern Road, Kolavila government quarters where she grew up, it's all part of her milieu. So now,
That's
that,
very interesting.
that's very interesting, and she's here with us today. So I'm sure she's going to pick up this book, and so will the others. But there's one thing that I wanted to get on. Yes, we all middle class bongs seem to know the other middle class bongs very well. This is one thing we must admit, that we have common interests, we have common food habits, and whatever. And so, but having said that, your characters in your Fern Road, the characters in your Fern Road, you have been quite bold enough to actually open up some secret boxes, like this. To start with, this Orko's aunt, who before she leaves and goes away to Dehradun, and I can now connect the Dehradun, why she goes to Dehradun to teach in a school, because there is a link with you there. But she gives a box to Orko and says that I'm going away. This is your mother's. It was in my hipajat for so many years. Now you take it on from there. And there he opens up and finds, it's to do with some secrets, small word,
Yes.
secrets, mother. But Angshu, you really have, where you have exceeded being that, stopped at or gone ahead of, and not stopped at being just a middle class, uh, eating, what do you call, mulo diye bhat, the march and all that.
Dal bhat chutto.
Dalwar Chutto, you actually have jumped by talking about the, uh, what shall I say, uh, the sexual misadventures of Orko. That I thought was a pretty bold move that you made in the book, without being very overtly talking about it, but it's all there. I mean, that football coach to whatever, you have left much to the imagination of the readers, which is fine, which is great. But at the same time, I think your characters, there's a new twist.
Yeah, and I think that is also something that we don't talk about because you see
Yeah,
this. So the thing that happens between the football coach and Orko is obviously
yeah,
sexual abuse, right?
yeah,
Uh, as a nation, as a culture, we don't talk about sexual abuse that goes on within families or within people who know each other. And more importantly, and even more acutely, we don't talk about the sexual abuse of boys. And we don't talk
right.
about what goes on in their minds when, something like that happens to them. And Uh, for a boy, it's a totally different sort of. Mm, I don't know. It's something that I thought was worth talking about, and in the same vein as Orko's character, because it is usually, you know, what should I say? So these predators, they know how to pick their prey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I will come back to another major component in that story a little later. But first, in the meantime, let me just for a minute take you out of Fern Road and come to you. You from Patobhavan to KGP to your profession as a computer software. Uh, Now, how did you one day suddenly decide, ki, acha, I mean, I know we all monks have that thing of writing, we are supposedly literary, but what made you, we all have one individual reason, but what made you jump to writing a book and a novel at that?
Yeah. So as far as I see it, of course, it's different for everyone who wants to write. But for me, there are two parts of that. There are two ingredients, the essential ingredients that go into being able to write a story. One is the a sort of familiarity or uh, precision with language, and the other is the ability to imagine a story. Right now, when I was very young, my house was filled with books, and I was left alone by myself for long periods of time, just like my protagonist Orko. And my mother made me read things like Charles Dickens, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Mahashita Devi at a very young age. Uh, I would say like my mid-teens, and I was reading all this stuff. And okay, this was the sanctioned reading, and when she wasn't there, when I was by myself, I used to read the Mills and Boon romances and Harold Robbins and Alistair MacLean. These were books that I was not supposed to read, right? So these stories and the way the authors have used the tools that the authors have used to tell these stories, they have remained with me. And I used to, doodle, write, and these were times before the computer, so I used to write in notebooks which are lost. So I don't have that anymore. But the defining moment came, for so I met my wife online, and about 5 years after we were married, I said, okay, so I was such a dolt. So what made you decide to, you know, you know, give it a go with me? And she said that, you know, it was your writing, the way
Wow.
the way your sentences were put together, the way you described the house in which you live, things like that. And so then I thought, okay, so then I thought, okay, so this is something that I can work on. This is something I can do. And then serendipitously we moved to Kolkata. And that's when the floodgates really opened, because uh, I started, winter afternoons, started taking walks in my old neighborhoods, my Mama Badi in Menuka Cinema, then my old school in Palm Avenue, and then down the road, the same road that I used to take, and everything was still the same, and all those memories were still there. And then I saw, okay, I have one chapter, and then I sent that chapter to Mr. Ravi Singh at Speaking Tiger. I got back very encouraging words, and I don't think without those words this book would have happened. But after that, it took me 5 years to finally finish the book, and yeah, that's where the first book came from. And there's another one that I'm writing currently, and that's also probably going to be ready in, I think, another year or so. So that's the
But
journey.
right. And so it took you 5 years to write, and I'm so happy that your wife sort of inspired you or appreciated your writing skills, and that said, okay, I think I can do it. Now, is your next book, which I must quickly ask you for a sneak preview, as they say, is it also on Kolkata, or you have drifted out of Kolkata from that one?
It has to be set in Kolkata because Kolkata is my soul. This is where this is my home, and so this story is about a young girl who is in an accident and loses a large chunk of her memory. The first thing she remembers is being in a forest with an elephant. So this book is about her quest for this elephant. This is, I mean, she grows up in Kolkata, and at a certain point, because of certain events, she decides that the only way she can actually reconcile with her past, with her history, with her family, is if she finds the elephant. And it is about her quest for this elephant.
How interesting. I'm sure we will all look forward to this and we want you to finish it fast because this is a very interesting story. But coming back to the book, and I want you to do, I'm sure I would like you to read out some parts of the book, Angshu. But before that, one question over here. While Orko story, the sexual abuse, all that, it has taken its but you have added a number of, what shall I say, twists in that. His friendship with the other girls in the class, and as in one of our posts in one of the section of the book says that he joins this new class and finds he's the only boy, only man in the class. They're all girls, and and maybe to some extent he's kind of comfortable with that situation because the boys in any case seem to be the standard problem. The boys chase him, and they bully him in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The girls probably to a greater extent try to protect Orko. Number one. Number two is that at some point of time Orko actually has a girlfriend, if I may use the word, sort of somebody to whose house he goes to, and you have added a lot of shockers in that. There is a huge shocker element in that, which I think when I was reading it, there are those moments in a story which lift you, and they say, "Oh, hello, wow!" I mean, like this is that I think. I want you to say just about. I'm not asking you to open up the story, but I want you to. I mean, was it just for the sake of the book's a twist in the tale?
No, actually, that was because you see, Orko up till the point that he meets Brishti, the girl you're talking
Hmm,
about,
hmm, hmm.
uh, he sort of thinks that he's the only weird person in the world, right?
Right, right. Okay.
And without meeting another person who is a sort of departure from the usual norm of how boys and girls are at that age, uh,
Right.
uh, it would be difficult for a boy to uh, come to any sort of self-actualization, any sort of confidence in himself,
Right.
and that's where community always plays a good it plays a very important role when it comes to the development of people who are not mainstream. Let me just put it that way.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so this meeting Brishti, so Brishti had to be introduced if Orko was to progress from being a disturbed, conflicted young boy into a person who is able to deal with the world in some way. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the point of bringing Brishti into the picture.
Okay. And now I think we need a bit of a book reading. And you will remember Angshu being from Kolkata like me. Uh, 20, 30 years ago, there used to be this thing at British Council and other places when they would say that so and so author would come and read his book. And we used to think that my God, we must go there and listen to him because author himself is reading. So, there used to be it was almost like a date in the calendar. But I want you to read a part of your book, and then I'm going to ask you a question about a character.
All right.
That after you read it, okay? So go ahead.
So I'll pick a passage that basically is a sort of love poem to Kolkata.
All
And
right. Okay.
okay, here goes. So this is
Okay.
from the beginning of chapter 7.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. In December, the mornings are grey, The afternoons short and yellow, like the final moments of an ant drowning in a jar of honey. Sweaters, scarves, and shawls emerge from the top shelves of wardrobes and from steel trunks stored under beds. There's a faint smell of mothballs in minibuses and in doctors' chambers. Men and women scurry about the wispy morning streets, wrapped in their woolens of blue and yellow and brown. On Sundays, they go to the botanic gardens and to the zoo with sandwiches wrapped in old newspaper and thermos bottles of instant coffee, not quite piping hot. They recline on reed mats spread on the green, while their children play hide and seek or immerse themselves in adventures that can only take place in the pages of a book. Evening falls without warning. Feeble street lamps shine valiantly, illuminating huddled figures with fumes of cigarette smoke floating over their heads like speech bubbles in a comic book. The grey mornings and the quick afternoons bleed into the new year, and the men and women spend their time and money at the fairgrounds by the Moira. They are in trams and buses with armloads of books, a heady new book smell about them. Late in the evening, they wrap themselves in their shawls and drink tea, piping hot, from earthen cups before spending the night seated on uncomfortable chairs in concert halls fashioned out of tarpaulins and bamboo scaffolding. Orko can't remember a winter as idyllic as this one. His board exams are behind him. He is home, alone, swaddled in a soft shawl that once belonged to his mother. The shawl is a fuzzy mauve, and it, too, smells of mothballs. The hours go by languidly, with Simon and Garfunkel playing on the stereo. Orko doesn't know how long he's been reading, only that it has been too long. The text on the page grows fuzzy, then fades into an unintelligible blur. He sets the book down by his pillow and contemplates his future.
Well, Angshu, all I can, not only me, and I'm sure I can almost hear voices from those of us who are here from Kolkata. This is Kolkata. I mean, what you have just described, this is Kolkata. This is us. This is the middle class that you and I and we all are. And this is the ethos that we have lived with. We talk about. We are so proud of, including that thermos. The coffee in the thermos flask is not that hot. That's all. But we must have that thermos flask to go with it. So, and typically an Eagle or a Hammer Master or whatever those brands
Yes.
were. Yeah. So
Yeah. Brings
so
back
that's it.
memories.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really the Kolkata. You have got the pulse bang on, and I think that's something. Which is why I've been telling my friends, and I'm even telling our viewers over here that if you belong to this genre, or even if you don't, pick up a copy of Fern Road. You will love it because you will know these people as much as I know them, and I didn't have to ask much to Angshu that "Ei cheleta, oi cheleta na," because we know oi cheleta, oi meta, we know all of them. That's number one. And then number two is that tell your friends, and particularly I'm sure a lot of your children who have moved out to Mumbai, Bangalore, Gurgaon, and other such places because of work. Tell them also to read this, and because this is really it's great reading. And now coming back to another point, what happens to some at some point of time, Orko's next door neighbor Urbi, right? Urbi's mother is like a surrogate mother. I mean, she takes over Orko's mother's role, and
Yeah.
after Orko's mother dies, and she feeds, she does this. But in the afternoon, they both again afternoon siesta, homework. The whole thing goes on. At some point of time, well, one thinks that hello, maybe as they grow up, that standard middle class Bengali situation of the affair with the next door girl with whom you have sort of grown up, but maybe the same age. So, but after that, at some point of time, she keeps growing in stature somewhere. That's what I felt. And then what happens to her? You have purposely seemed to have sort of kept her slightly out of the mainstream because it's Orko's story. I grant you that, but even then, was that on
Well,
purpose?
uh, that is sort of on purpose because you see, in the beginning of the story,
Hmm.
Orko is always, Urmi is the leader and Orko is the follower. Like Urmi gets to be big ears and Orko is Noddy, the little boy. things like that, right? And so, in order for Orko to grow, uh, Urmi had to take a backstage, which she does of her own accord because she has new friends. She has moved to a new school, and she obviously now finds it strange to invite a boy in the midst of a gang of girls that have got together at her
Yeah,
house for a sleepover.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
described in this
yeah.
in one of the chapters that it's an odd situation because he's always slept over at her place
Right.
and her mother never had a problem with it, but suddenly Urmi tells him that no, it's girls only and my mother says so. And Orko can't believe it, but yeah, that's sort of the beginning of the fracture in their relationship. And um, the affection is still there, but they are just not that close anymore.
Agreed, agreed, and yeah, this is a very natural course of things that we have also seen that after a point, there is a kind of a branching out because they are no longer, the nursery kids as they grew up together. They start maturing, have their own, and there are other. In fact, there is one comment that has come in just now, Angshu, which I want to read out, and the gentleman who has made the comment has put up a paragraph. So for a minute, I think we'll be covered once I bring this up on the this is what it goes, but I'll read this out. Shutitha Online, that's what he tags himself, says that coincidentally, I just got my copy yesterday. The very first line stole my heart. Yes, that's what Kolkata is all about. Fern Road is not a road lined with ferns. Yeah, neither Shialda has jackals nor Bowbajar is for brides, though it's famed for bridal jewelry. And then Shutittu says that love for Kolkata is eternal.
Thank
Well,
you, thank you,
there you are.
thank you.
Lovely. Yeah, that's it.
Lovely
Love for
comment.
Kolkata is a lovely comment. Yes, I must compliment Shuditha for joining us and paying this comment. And now maybe another extract, Angshu, because you read so well. Maybe a little more of an extract from the book. Why not? You have it ready? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, just uh,
Yeah.
I think I just read the first bit, the
Yeah.
beginning of the
Sure.
book.
Sure.
Drink of water.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Absolutely. When I'm doing the same.
Incidentally, I'm reading from a different edition of the book. This is was published in Australia by the University of Western Australia, and basically this was the first edition of the book. So I'm just
Right.
reading.
Please.
Uh, Fern Road is not a road lined with ferns. It's a labyrinthine lane lined with practical, sturdy houses, 2 and 3 stories high. Their windows have wooden shutters with columns of slats that open and shut like giant mechanical eyelids. The houses look like they've been here forever, their balconies floating above the narrow footpaths like magic carpets. Orko hurries through the maze, turning left, right, right again, then left. In the corner is a 2 story house, its bright green gate framed by purple bougainvillea. In the mornings, an old man reads his newspaper on the veranda, a cup of tea on a teapot by his side. In the afternoon, the man stands by the railing, smiling at strangers as they walk past. There's no one on the veranda today, just pajamas, a towel, a girl's school uniform, and women's petticoats hung out to dry on a blue clothesline. Around the corner are little shops that sell stationery, samosas, mutton, their minders doze behind weathered counters on stools and in aluminium chairs. Orko walks past the shops, emerging at Goal Park, which is not really a park. It's a little garden at a traffic roundabout, with an iron fence around it. There's a sweet shop at the corner of the roundabout. Orko casts about for loose change in his pockets. He's hungry. A Roshogulla, unlike the parks and roads with their delusions of grandeur, is exactly what it claims to be, a little ball of sweetmeat swimming in a puddle of sugar syrup. Orko gulps it down, leaving the stainless steel bowl in the sink. He marks time at the bus stop, glancing at watches strapped on other people's wrists, petite with a delicate chain for a strap, large and chunky with a black dial, digital with a plastic band. After 10 minutes, the bus he is waiting for trundles along. He takes the only vacant seat next to a tired-looking young man with a sling bag across his shoulder. They leave Gol Park behind and ascend the Dhakuria Bridge. To the left is the Children's Little Theatre. Orko has been there a few times with his grandmother. From the crest of the bridge, he can see the railway tracks below. A green suburban train sidles along, its horn booming over the noisy traffic. A startled calf hastily moves out of its path. The gears grind as the asthmatic bus nears the foot of the bridge, the dull whine of its engine giving way to a gentle growl. On either side of the street are shop fronts and residential apartments. 5 schoolgirls wait patiently at a pedestrian crossing. An auto rickshaw slows down near them. One of the girls shakes her head, and the auto rickshaw picks up speed again.
You know what, Angshu? And I'm sure everybody is going to agree with me. And in fact, there is a comment straight away before I could say what I was thinking. It says, Sheila says that I literally walked on the roads as the author read. It's so descriptive. And that's exactly the point. What you have done is an experience. You have put in words an experience that we have all gone through. And I suspect that Rasgulla is coming from Mithai.
Actually, Mojak.
Actually, Mochak, sorry, not Mithai, actually Mochak. My mistake. I meant Mochak. Yeah, absolutely, that's right. And in that stainless steel, yeah, absolutely. It's an experience. It's a feeling. You have been so descriptive, including those petticoats hanging and the old man having his chai, from a teapot. Oh my God, this is absolutely. You have got on to the
Thank you.
What should I say, to the nerves of the city and the pulse of the city. It's amazing. So I think what we will now be, but let me, one last question, or one of the last questions is, when the book was written, which we all have intentions that one day we'll become an author, and then suddenly one day you become one. You become an author, and then you have the book in your hand. In your case, the book must have been couriered down from Australia or whatever. Packet opens and you're holding onto the book. Now, what was that feeling like? The first time thing, it's almost like holding on to your first baby. You would agree with me, perhaps, but
Yeah, but it's a strange feeling, I'll tell you, because I got it in my hand and I started reading it, and then because when you're writing it, you can edit as long as you like. I mean, even before sending to the publisher, the night before, you're changing paragraphs, changing sentences, moving a punctuation mark here, and a word there, and then you get the book, and it's almost as if it's cast in stone. It's like out there. You can't do anything to it anymore. You might get a great idea about a particular progression in the story, but you can't employ it anymore. So that's a sort of the elation of having the book is also there's a flip side to that, and that's it's the end of that. So now what do I do?
well, what you do is that you write another book, which you are doing, and that is what we are all expecting from you as the next book.
Thank you.
And so that's no, and yeah, you're right, Angshu. When you even this happened to me when I got my first book, and there was my publisher Shikha was sitting in front of me, and she kept on saying, "So Shujit, now you're an author. How is it feeling to be an author?" But I was still touching the book, flipping it, doing all sorts of things, but I was not willing to read it because maybe you said,
I know the feeling.
Yeah, but I must tell you a kind of a horrifying experience I had. That this was with my second book, and it was being launched with a lot of tamasha in Delhi at the Habitat Center, and I'd invited some of my friends from Kolkata in advertising and in the media to come and help me with all the and Paranjoy Gothakurta, he came up to speak. He's been an old friend, same school. He's just been some years my junior. But and Thak, the first thing he says that, who is the publisher? And there is a gentleman who gets up and says, yes, sir, what to do? He says, there are so many mistakes in this book. This And he says, "Oh, we will repair it. We will repair it." That never happened. But then, of course, he went on to, and of course, I had to tell him, "Meta ki dorkat chilo," but to drop the bomb in the whole party. Urbi says, "Very well said." I think she's talking about your first feeling of that book, when you get it in hand. But there's one thing I want to say before we thank Angshu for being with us and thank all of you all, is that I want you to take a look at this book, Fern Road. Now, a couple of things in this book is that and this is a compliment to Speaking Tiger, uh, is that even the last time when we met, we discussed that their production value is amazing, absolutely top of the line production value. Number one, and number two is their cover designs. They actually spend a lot. Yeah, I'm holding it like that. Yeah, they actually do invest a lot in cover designers who are special cover designers, not just any designer, and they also invest in illustrators. And other thing is, that's talking about the aesthetic part of it. The other thing is their choice of type fonts, their choice of the page layout and everything, and final production value of the book as we see it is really something. It's worth carrying it in your hand and keeping it in your shelf. So this is a very well produced book, and I do hope that all of you all, now that you all have been exposed to some of the uh, uh, what do you call tidbits about the story, you all will want to read and start putting the jigsaw puzzle together. That was the whole idea, to get Angshu to just throw some of the puzzles so that you all can go home, pick up the book, order it, and Speaking Tiger, and put it on together. So, thank you all very much for being with us today. As far as Kahaani, Koncerti, and Speaking Tiger is concerned, we'll be again with you on the 10th of July, which is just a few days away from now, to talk about a book which again is on Kolkata. And Mohana Kanjilal has talked about the culinary history of Kolkata. Culinary history would mean this is a very well researched book. She has talked about the different cuisines of Kolkata, the different eateries from Mitro Cafe to Bosanto Cabin, and the Flurries and the Furpos and Pelletis. So it's a comprehensive Kolkata research story, which I think we all being foodies will. She has also talked about the invention of mutton pantheras. So that I will be. Yeah, I know, Angshu. That's what I was expecting. So that will be on the 10th, same time. Please follow us on Facebook and other social media. We'll give you all the details. And Angshu, thank you very much for being with us. I think this was really the Fern Road that I was wanting to go back to.
Thank
And
you for having me. It was a pleasure.
super.
Have a very good evening.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
And to all my viewers, thank you very much. Please be in touch with us, visit our website, and do keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. And I hope to meet up with you all very soon. Thank you.